And welcome again to Real Life Basketball. Darien, Southerland, and the legend, Coach Doug Lipscomb, 500 wins, retired coach. The season is over in the state of Georgia. Tournament season has started. Are we on live on Facebook Live, Nick?
My question is, why did you take away 100 of my wins?
Oh, you got 600 wins.
Plus.
There you go. There you go. Welcome to Facebook Live. Our Facebook guests out there that are tuning in or will be tuning in. Maybe we'll get some on Facebook Live. What do you think?
Hey, come join in.
Nick, when's my microphone coming in, by the way? That matches Doug's microphone.
That matches my shirt.
It matches his shirt. We'll talk about the microphones and stuff in just a minute.
We're coordinating.
Coordinate out the way. But, hey, let's go over last week. Last week we picked the individual. We're going to do the tournament of 64 this week. Doug and I, we're going to give you listeners a free way to win a shirt and win a shirt from there. And we'll go from there. But we're going to talk about the winners, who won each division, and who won. Did you figure out who won the AAC? Mm-hmm. Okay, you got all that down. So, Doug, we'll go over that. But first, Doug, before we get started, a lot of coaching changes going on in the NCAA this week.
Yes, they are. Right off the rip, you go with the change at Georgia, Pittsburgh, and UConn. Anybody else?
Just right off the top of my head, those are the big ones. UConn, Georgia, Pittsburgh. I'm sure there's going to be some more after the tournament. But, Kevin Ollie's out at Connecticut, and he won a national championship 4 years ago. That's quite a thing. But the fact about it is Kevin won with another coach's players. He won with Jim Calhoun's players, but he still had to coach the team. So that Kevin Ollie will get a job. Wouldn't you agree?
I do.
He's going to get a job somewhere. Mark Fox, 9 years at Georgia, just couldn't ever break it out. And we're a Georgia-based show. And let me say this. Congratulations, before we ever start, to the Georgia State Panthers. We said at the beginning of the year that Georgia State was the best. I said it, and you may agree with me, you may not. But they were the best team in the state of Georgia, and they did make the tournament. I think they got a bad seeding, but they did make the tournament this year. And congratulations to those guys and our show, Sherman White over there, the assistant coach who's been on with us before. We need to talk to him, and pretty soon.
We need to get Ron Hunter on here.
We need to get Ron on here. Let me ask you this while we're talking, and we won't go too far with this. Is Ron long for Georgia State now? I mean, this is what? How many years he made the tournament, Nick? It's what? Two in a row, or two out of the last three, or two out of the last four, something like that. Yeah. His son was there a couple years ago, and he made the tournament, and he makes the tournament again. I mean, it's the first time in a long time they've made the tournament 2 out of 4 years.
Yeah.
I think Georgia aren't in
it. Tech and Georgia, Josh Pastor and Tech ain't in it. Georgia, Mark Fox ain't in it. And let me say this about the state of Georgia basketball, and then I want you to get into the high school level real quick, Doug, before we start. The fact that Georgia State's there and Georgia Tech's not there, and I look around us and Florida's got 2-3 teams there. Alabama's got 2 teams there. Tennessee's got a team there. South Carolina's got 2 teams there. North Carolina's got, 4 or 5 teams in the tournament. Doug, being the high school coach, being the guy, is the state of Georgia losing prospects to other universities around the Southeast?
Well, that's a no-brainer. I mean, everybody that you just mentioned had kids on their teams from Georgia.
It's kind of sad. It's kind of sad. And the only state that I can say that is, anyway, I don't even want to get into that, but I'd like to see Georgia hire a good coach. I really would. I'm personally hoping Thad Matta, from the former Ohio State coach that had Michael Conley and Greg Oden, which you coached in the McDonald's All-American game.
Yes. And
Thad's brother coaches down here, or he did coach down here at North Cobb Christian for a while. I don't know if he still does, but anyway. But so Thad had some Georgia ties there.
Well, let me go ahead and throw this out there.
But I threw your name out there last week as coach for Georgia.
Just keep throwing, okay?
Would you take that $2 million a year job?
Of course. Who wouldn't? I mean, But you got to get a good staff around you as well.
Would I be on that staff?
Sure. Okay. You'd be our ambassador for Georgia Bulldog basketball. That's right. Our Georgia Tech, it doesn't really matter. But what I'm saying, the next person that's hired has to be somebody that can have a communication on the same communication level with the young adults. I mean,
right.
You can't Not that I'm knocking anybody's personality, but you got to be able to relate to the kids that you're going to have playing for you.
No doubt.
And that's from the top head coach to the last assistant. So I think there are too many kids that are being that's being snatched away from us.
Overlooked.
Not overlooked. You got to go get them.
The fact, and I'm going to say this, okay? The fact that a 5-star high school player doesn't even really consider an in-state school right now is a sad state in the state of Georgia.
Oh, yeah. Now, just think about this. I went to the state playoffs this weekend. Mm-hmm. There were at least 6 or 7 kids that I saw playing this weekend could have impact on a college program their freshman year in college.
They're freshmen, and none of them's going to Georgia.
No.
None of them's going to Tech.
No. Or Georgia State.
So,
I mean, now, don't get me wrong. You got to go outside your state as well, but you get the top-of-the-line kids in from your state, you're going to win.
Yeah, no doubt. So that's our little bit of Homer news. Georgia State Championship, you win. Your alma mater pulled out a state championship, the Red Elephants of Gainesville.
They lost.
They lost?
They lost to Langston Hughes.
They lost. I thought they won.
No. Shout out to Coach Welch, Langston Hughes. Great job, back-to-back. Most definitely, let's talk about ups in the league. 63 games in a row. Look, I got tongue-tied on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Undefeated 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Good job. Also, you got to talk about Meadow Creek.
Yeah.
Very good job over there, Coach G. Who would we leave out? Aquinas, they won.
Yeah.
We leave out anybody else?
And Aquinas is one of your former friends, coaches over there.
Oh, Doug.
Yeah.
Coach Doug. Yeah, good guy. Darren Douglas.
Dan says, I think I saw Dan one time post that he listens to our show about every week.
Good guy.
Real life basketball. Let me notice this right here, and I'm going to throw this out there, and I may be saying something that coaches don't want to hear. Every coach that we've interviewed, Doug, has lost. Are we like Sports Illustrated now when you put somebody on the cover? We interviewed Mike Thompson when they were number one in the state with McEachern.
He went to the Final Four, if I'm not mistaken.
No, Mike Thompson didn't. They got beat out by Norcross.
Well, what was that? That was go to the Final Four.
The Elite Eight.
Okay, you got to go to the Final Four. Phyllis
got beat with McEachern. Grayson got beat in the Final Four.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
But, I mean, it ain't like we put them first round. They didn't go out the first round.
That's right.
Yeah.
But you know what? Hey, Nick, we're talking to producer Nick here. Some of our listeners coming in from all over the world. We talked about Sweden. We're trying to get somebody on from the Swedish Basketball Federation. I sent them an email this week, and I guess I didn't send it in Swedish, Doug. But we asked for a 6'7" female power forward to come on the show for us. Would you like to interview a 6'7"?
We'll sit her right here.
Right.
Sit.
Right there. So anyway, United Kingdom, thank you for listening to Real Life Basketball. Getting a lot of listeners over there in Germany as well this past week. We had some listeners from Germany listen, France and Spain. But Doug, that's where we're reaching out. In this week's hat, I want to thank my friends. If you see this hat right here, from Union University in Jackson, Tennessee. Their girls programs ranked one of the top female programs in the country. Union University, thank you for sending me this. If you've got a high school team or a college team with a hat, you want to send it, I'll wear it on the show. But it's got to be a big hat because I got a size 8 head, Doug. It's almost as big as the basketball on the Real Life Basketball avatar. Which brings me to my next point. If you see Doug's shirt, Doug, please stand up and model that for us on Facebook Live. You can see it.
I'll go out of the camera.
You can see it. Or I'm going to hold this one up right here. It's our brand new Real Life Basketball shirt. Nick, why don't you have one of these on today?
Why don't you have one of these on today?
But anyway, I will have it on. I'll have it on
team player.
I'll have it on for our next show. I'll have it on for our next show. We're going to do some studio updates in here, and we want to thank our sponsors, Carriage Automotive Group, for everything they do with us. That's Carriage Kia in Woodstock and Carriage Kia in Gainesville, along with Julio Jones Kia in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And if you're a sports fan, I want to invite you out to Gainesville this weekend, where they're going to be having a Braves kickoff. I know it's a basketball show, but they're going to be having a Braves kickoff this weekend. And Chris Chambliss, the old first baseman for the Braves, and Brian Jordan are going to be out signing autographs in Gainesville this weekend from 10 to noon. That's Saturday the 17th from 10 to noon. So come out and join the fine folks from Carriage and that sort of thing. So we're looking forward to having a good time. All right, let's go back and let's talk about last week's tournament winners. And by the way, if you're watching on Facebook Live right now, you like our new real-life basketball shirt that we've got here, and you want one, send us a message. The first person that sends us a message, Nick, get their name down. Who's the first message we got from us?
Michael Stevens.
Michael Stevens, congratulations. We're going to hook you up with a real-life basketball shirt. You've got to wear it proudly. And if you see Coach Lipscomb in person somewhere and you've got this shirt on, Doug will sign it for a fee of $5. But anyway, free. There you go. Free. So, Michael, congratulations on that. We'll give another one away before the show is over today, too. So keep watching on Facebook Live for your real-life basketball shirt. But anyway, the AAC last week, who was the finals, Nick? Who was in that finals again?
It was Houston
and Cincinnati. Who won that game?
Cincinnati.
I picked Wichita State. You picked Wichita State. The coach, Doug Lipscomb, picked Cincinnati. He's the big winner. Let's give him a hand. Pac-12, we had Arizona and USC. Nick, you picked UCLA. You're 0 for 2 right now. I picked Arizona. I won. And Coach Doug picked Arizona. Coach Doug is 2-0 right now. He should be the one. Big 12, Kansas and West Virginia. Nick, you did better than me because I picked Baylor. Baylor didn't even make it out of the first round. They didn't even win a game. West Virginia went to the finals, but Coach picked Kansas. 3-0. 3-0. Maybe we need to quit this.
Just let me do it.
Maybe we need to quit and just get a book. Start being one of those callers. 1-800-WIN now. We got Kansas by 3 points. What do you think, Coach? SEC. Not a single one of us won it. Matter of fact, I'm the only one that had a team in the finals because Coach picked Auburn. Auburn didn't even win a game. Nick, you picked Florida. Florida didn't make it. Coach, I win this one. I picked Tennessee. What about that?
He take the runner up.
I take the runner up.
I got you.
Then we go to the ACC. I picked Duke. Duke lost. But Nick, you and Coach took Virginia. Coach, 4 out of 5. Not bad. Nick, 1 out of 5. That's what I expected from you. Me, 1.5 out of 5.
Stay over there.
Stay over on that side. I got 1.5 by 5. So that means today the coach wins, and that's why the coach got the shirt, Michael Stevens. And he looks just like you. Coach got the new real-life basketball shirt on. And remember, if you're listening and you're watching on Facebook Live, if you're listening on your podcast, I got the Union University hat sent to me by Union University, their girls basketball team. If you want me to wear your high school hat or your college hat, shoot it over here to me. We'd appreciate it. We'll wear it on the show and advertise your thing. Let's look at the brackets today. That's what our show's going to be about today. We're going to get right into it. We're going to speed right along so it don't take too long. Here's what we're going to cover for you this afternoon on Real Life Basketball. We're going to talk about the first round, the toughest games. We're going to talk about who our upsets are going to be, and you might want to pay attention to Coach Doug's upsets because he was 4 out of 5 in the tournament. Then we're going to talk about second round matchups we're potentially looking forward to and potential Sweet 16 busters, teams that shouldn't be picked. And then we're going to give you our final 4 picks before next week's games. We're going to go ahead and mention who we think is going to go to the Final Four. Of course, that'll probably change next week, Doug. And then, Nick, tell them about our real-life basketball chance of how you can win.
We are having everyone participate with us in the Real Life Basketball bracket on ESPN.com. Just go to the fantasy area, go look up the brackets, and type in Real Life Basketball, and the winner will get a free Real Life Basketball T-shirt and maybe even some bragging rights over Darien and Doug for the next season coming up.
There you go. And see, we got shirts for fat people, okay? Because if you notice, most shirt giveaways, Doug, they give away shirts, and they never give shirts for big folks.
Well,
Have you ever noticed that?
Well, I was put in the category of being chunky.
Yeah.
So I'm on roll with chunky.
I'm chunk. That's right.
All right.
Chunky. And then some, you ever notice you don't call a woman chunky. What do you call her? Big boned.
You look nice today.
That's right. So anyway, we got shirts in sizes 12 to 24 and women's sizes. How about that? Anyway, we'll leave that alone. Let's go ahead and talk about the tournaments and what we got in the first round. First off, as we look at the tournament brackets, folks, and Doug, I'm going to start with you since you're the smart one here. What's the South, the West, the East, and the Midwest? What do you see as the toughest overall bracket and the easiest overall bracket? And I'm going to tell you mine, but what are you thinking looking at it?
You tell me what you see on here is easy.
When I look at this bracket as a whole, I think the easiest bracket for a team to come out of and win this thing and get to the Final Four is actually the South. I think Virginia has the easiest road to the Final Four, is what I'm looking for all the top teams. I think the toughest road to the Final Four, as we see it, is going to come for a number one seed. The toughest road that I see would be for Xavier, and just because of the way the matchups look. That's why. I mean, the East is kind of hard too, but I see it. Well, let me say, I should take that back. I think the East is tougher than the West. I do not think Villanova will make the Final Four. Let me just go ahead and say that. And they're a number one seed. So if you had to pick it, what number one seed has the toughest road? Nick, what are you thinking before Coach picks? What number one seed has the toughest road to make it to the Final Four?
Xavier.
Xavier. Why is that?
The toughest? Oh, yeah. I would say Xavier does because they have to play North Carolina later in the rounds. Missouri is pretty doing well. Florida State's heating up. Gonzaga will always make a run. He used to play a touch game against Cincy, and A&M can be a little sleeper.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you another reason when you look at that bracket is Ohio State's in that bracket. And if Ohio State comes out, that's a huge game for Ohio State to play Xavier. There's a lot of bragging rights in the state of Ohio if those two match up, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. On our Facebook Live, I want to make sure you make a comment and tell us who do you think is the toughest bracket for a number one seed to come out of. Doug, looking at the brackets with Nick, Doug, who's got the toughest route and who's got the easiest route for number one team?
Let's go down here at the bottom with Midwest. Okay?
Yeah.
Because you're down there with Kansas and you're down there with Duke.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you go past the first two rounds, if you want to kind of the toughest game I see all the way around down there could be Clemson and Auburn.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you get that person out of there, they're going to probably be matched up with Kansas up there. Mm-hmm. So let's just say, for example, you go with Kansas. Let's just say Auburn. Then you got Michigan State down there against Duke. Mm-hmm. We seen it at the beginning of the season, how that turned out. But now you got to look down there. You could have a matchup with Duke and Kansas just to get to the Final Four.
Yeah, that's a Final Four game within itself.
So that's not an easy bracket whatsoever.
So that's your toughest bracket. Who's got the easiest bracket for number one seed?
I look at Virginia up at the top in the South. If they can get past Arizona, the big kid, yeah.
You're right. Let's break it down. So we've figured out that the South is probably the easiest bracket. I'm saying, Nick is saying the West is the hardest bracket. Doug's saying the Midwest is the hardest bracket, and I'm saying the East is the hardest bracket. So pretty good outline there. Let's talk about first round games, and let's start up in the South. And what's the toughest first round matchup that you see in the South, Coach Doug?
Well, let's see, right down there with I don't really know a lot about Creighton, so I'm not about to blow smoke up them, but I really can't say that.
Let me tell you who I like the toughest game right off the top.
Hell no. Now, how about Nevada and Texas?
That's where I was going. Yeah. Nevada and Texas is going to be a tough game. Shaka Smart going against a Nevada team that's got a bunch of transfers, but they're loaded. They're loaded. And Eric Musselman's got a good team down there in Nevada. And if you remember, and here's what I want to remind folks, if you go back and listen to Real Life Basketball, when we talked to Jay Billis, and we said to Jay, give us a mid-major that could make a run. This is in early January. Who did Jay mention? He mentioned Nevada. So that 7-10 matchup with Nevada and Texas is a tough game. Now, if I'm looking for an upset in the first round, if I'm thinking of a team that I think could potentially pull an upset of all those games, okay? Number one, let's just congratulate University of Maryland at Baltimore County at number 16 for making the tournament. They're not going to beat Virginia. Would you agree? In the first,
most definitely.
They're not going to beat Virginia. Virginia's probably the most well-rounded team in this tournament. Don't have the most NBA talent, but the most well-rounded team in this tournament. Creighton, Kansas State's really not an upset. That's an 8-9. Here's where I see the upset, if it could happen. Davidson potentially with Kentucky. Now, I got Kentucky winning, but Davidson always shoots the ball well. Every time you see Davidson, and what does those guys have to lose at Davidson when they go to play Kentucky?
That game.
That's it.
They kind of
but that's it. But
you rolling with them?
But I'm rolling with you. But here's the thing you got to remember with a team like Davidson. Number one, Davidson has got some good. We always know they're a solidly coached basketball team. They're in the tournament year after year. Davidson is the modern day Temple or the modern day. They're just a modern day shooting, fundamentally sound basketball team coming out. They're always there. Okay. Remember, Seth Curry went to Davidson. Don't forget about that. Okay. They may need Seth Curry to beat Kentucky, but if they can slow the game down and they can shoot threes like Vandy did, go back and watch the Vandy tape against Kentucky. Davidson could put the upset. You see any upsets in the first round, Coach?
No, and don't forget now, Kentucky's gotten better. Just
like they have.
So,
Nick, you see any upsets in the first round?
Just Texas versus Nevada.
You just see Nevada coming out too?
I see Texas winning.
You see Texas winning in that game. So Texas is the 10th seed. Nevada's the 7th seed. So I don't know whether we could just – I think that's the best first-round game. So you said it's the biggest upset. Let's talk Homer just a second. Does Georgia State have a shot against Cincinnati? Nick?
No.
No, Coach?
I can't roll with you this time.
Well, I ain't picking Georgia State.
I mean, they're going to show up.
They're going to show up, but can they beat Bob Huggins?
No.
Let me ask you this.
Huggins not at Cincinnati.
Not at Cincinnati. That's right. Huggins ain't at Cincinnati. What am I talking about? Huggins used to be at Cincinnati. I was thinking about giving Huggins one of these shirts, but we didn't have one his size.
We needed a triple like this.
Triple like that.
There you go.
You think you can get some of these college coaches wear these shirts?
Yeah, when they're cutting the grass. No, I'm just playing. We're better than that.
Folks, look here. It's our real-life basketball shirt. Our buddy Michael won one. We're going to give one away before the show is over on Facebook Live and via our podcast. So look at these shirts. They're cool-looking shirts. It says real-life basketball, and you got the coach's name on it. He'll even sign it coming up. Let's go down to the West. And so let's look at the second round of the South while we're here, Coach. What's the big games that you're looking for in the South? And I'll tell you the one that stands out to me in the second round of the South, and that's barring a Davidson upset over Kentucky. But Kentucky, Arizona in the second round, many people had those two teams in the Final Four going into the second round.
It's going to be tough.
I mean, at the beginning of the year. That's a great game, Kentucky against Arizona.
It's a really good team is going to be sitting at home after that game.
Yeah. After this weekend, a good team going home. That means either 4 kids from Kentucky are going to the NBA or 1 kid from Arizona or 2 from Arizona is going to the NBA after this. Their college livelihood is over with. Freshmen are leaving.
Now, let me ask you this right here. When you're on that next round right there, Miami and Tennessee.
I got Tennessee. I'm taking Tennessee. I thought Rick Barnes was going to win the SEC championship. I picked them, and they played a good game, and a few shots just hit the rim wrong. They should have won that game against Kentucky. I really believe that. But I see Tennessee coming all the way out and playing Virginia in the South all the way. I really do.
Okay.
So the Nevada-Cincinnati game. If Nevada makes it out against Cincinnati or Texas, I'm not a big Cincinnati fan. I mean, I know Cincinnati's a 2 seed here, but I seen Cincinnati get whooped like a dog against Xavier earlier this year.
Well, now look what you just said, Xavier.
Well, Xavier's down in the West, so we're just talking about the South.
That's a good squad. That's a one seed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but 1 and a 2, you should at least play in the game. So, what you see any other matchups up there, Nick, that you like that we hadn't mentioned?
I would just take Miami over Tennessee.
That's a homer move, man.
That's not just that.
Miami lost to Georgia Tech. I'm wondering if Miami might be one of those
Miami
upsets.
beat UNC and Duke also.
Pretty much.
So anyway, let's go down to the West and talk a little bit about the West in the first round. Coach, what's your best game you're looking at in the West?
Well, I like Missouri and Florida State, but I think Florida State's gonna.
Our buddy Stan Jones in Florida State. I can't go with Missouri, and here's why. I can't go with Missouri because after what they did in the SEC tournament, the fact the Georgia Bulldogs, which everybody knows I'm a Georgia homer if you watch this show, beat Missouri, canceled Missouri out. And I'm going to mention something right now to you, Coach, that I noticed about this NCAA tournament pick, okay? NCAA tournament pick. Remember, I'm an advertising guy, okay? We all know that. You're a coach, okay? Did you notice the NCAA did not leave one team out that has a potential top 10 pick in the NBA draft out of this tournament?
Oh, they're in there, that's for sure. But you know what gets me?
Missouri made it,
Yeah.
which was a borderline team. Oklahoma, which lost to Oklahoma State in the first round because they got Trae Young. Oklahoma State didn't even make the tournament, but Oklahoma makes it.
Now
Alabama,
right.
Borderline team, but they got Colin Sexton.
Let me ask you this right
Yeah.
here. This is where sometimes I think it definitely shows that money is definitely involved, totally.
Yeah.
Because here you look at, I love Alabama, great program. They had 19 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody have another team have 19 wins?
Middle Tennessee State
Had more.
but they didn't have Colin Sexton, who's going to sell tickets.
Most definitely.
Who sells more tickets in an arena for a game? Colin Sexton? Because remember, you're going to arenas that are not home games.
Most definitely.
Alabama's going out to the east to play. Oklahoma, Trae Young. They didn't deserve to make it. Nick, what's your thoughts on that?
I don't think Oklahoma deserves to be there.
What about Missouri?
I don't think Missouri deserves to be there either.
Right. So
I
anyway,
think Alabama deserves just because they made a little run.
Alabama made it because of Colin Sexton. Avery Johnson better thank Colin Sexton for that team. USC didn't make it, and they went to the finals of the Pac-12 tournament and had a good year.
Yes.
So, it all goes back to money. Let's just keep it real on real-life basketball. And remember, keep listening because you can win one of these real-life basketball T-shirts. And send me a hat. I need a new one for next week from one of you colleges or high schools across the country. Send it to us at Real Life Basketball. Just go on the Facebook Live and you can figure out where to send it to me, and I'll send you the address. But looking down there in the West, Coach, first-round matchups, you like that Missouri-Florida State. That's a good 8-9 matchup. Our friend Stan Jones, the assistant coach at Florida State. And let's face it, Florida State ain't had a typical Florida State year, and they're there too.
Right.
It just shows the power of the ACC. Nick, what are you looking at in that first round? Which game you like the best, which you're just waiting to watch?
I think A&M Providence is interesting.
A&M Providence is a good game, and I like that A&M Providence game, but I'm going to tell you right now, that's my upset special. I like Providence over A&M.
It's time for A&M to wake up.
Yeah, A&M. I think A&M's another team that got a little kiss from luck. And got in the tournament because I didn't expect them to. If I had an upset to pick, there's two that I'm looking at on this side. And here's why I'm looking at these two on this side, okay? If Lipscomb plays the game that they played against Florida Gulf Coast in the championship in the first half, where they were winning the game 60-32, Lipscomb has a shot at upsetting North Carolina and a 15 beating a 2. If Lipscomb plays the second half of the game like they played at Florida Gulf Coast University, they will get beat by 60. Okay? Lipscomb could put together. So it's either they're going to get blown out or they're going to win by 1 or 2. It's going to be good because we've seen North Carolina. Remember, North Carolina lost to Citadel earlier this year in a game. Okay? A team like Lipscomb could get hot. Another upset I see, potentially, is UNC Greensboro and Gonzaga. This ain't the typical Mark Few team at Gonzaga. We just hadn't heard a whole lot about them. But that's the two I see, and I do like Providence over Texas A&M. Coach, who you looking forward to watching in the second round of the West?
We're going to the West. That second round, of course, it looks like going to be Houston and Michigan. That's going to be up and down. If the big kid plays well for Michigan, it's a wrap. They're going to take care of business.
Yeah.
Now, if things go as planned, you got Texas A&M down there with UNC.
UNC and Texas. I got UNC. Unless UNC loses in the first, I got UNC.
I don't think they're going to lose.
I don't think they are either. Yeah. But it's a unless I don't think Texas A&M can handle them. I don't think Providence can handle them. I don't think Michigan, Houston, or San Diego State can handle them.
Well, it's going to be some matchup difficulties. If the big kid comes from Michigan, it's a wrap. They can play.
Can they beat North Carolina if they come out that far?
They got Muhammad Ali on their team, don't they?
Who's that?
Michigan.
Yeah, they better get Jim Harbaugh.
Well, no, they won't win.
I think the toughest game in the second round, and I like how the tournament folks did this, the toughest game in the second round is the Ohio State-Gonzaga matchup, the 4-5. I like the way the committee is selling tickets at the same time they're seeding teams because if everything goes as planned, Coach, Xavier will play Ohio State in the Sweet 16. If that's the way, if everything goes as planned as far as the seeding goes. And guess what? Ohio State has everything to lose and nothing to gain by playing Xavier. Xavier's supposed to win the game, yet Ohio State is the State University of Ohio. And the coach, if he don't win the game, it's, Coach, why can't you get the players to Ohio State that are going to Xavier? It makes no sense. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, Xavier is a top notch. They're there for a reason.
It's almost like a 7A team playing a 1A private school in high school basketball. The 7A teams assume that they should win, but the 1A guys got those what do you call it? I-20 kids that bring over from foreign countries to play for them. So they got 7-footers playing on that. So anyway, who'd you have coming out of the West, Coach?
I like Xavier.
Xavier. Nick, who'd you have coming out of the West?
UNC.
UNC. I borderline. You know what? The only reason I went with Xavier is because if we go back and listen to our show from the beginning of the year, I picked Xavier in the Final Four at the beginning of the year. For some reason, though, I'm going to go with Xavier. I wouldn't be surprised to see UNC there.
Yeah.
Roy just knows how to win the games. He proved that, beating Duke the other night. And which, let me ask you this, Coach. Did you see the UNC Duke game the other night?
Oh, yeah, I know where you're going. Go ahead.
Did Grayson Allen throw a hip?
Of course. No doubt.
Do you think that was technical?
No doubt. Yes, I do. But, at some point in time, when are you just going to be real? Let's keep it real.
Mm-hmm.
What the heck is going on with that? Could you get away with that? I don't think so. Could I get away with that? Heck no.
You know why he gets away with it?
Duke.
Because he plays for Coach K.
Well, I know as a coach, you love your kids, but there are certain things you just cannot deny.
Yeah.
Like, there it is. You can't deny it. So,
if he does that in the NBA, what's going to happen?
Did you remember what happened with the Clippers and somebody else coming in the back door of the locker room?
Yeah.
Okay, well.
You think he'll do it in the NBA?
No, I don't think so. I think somebody in the NBA will pull him to the side and say, listen, we want you to hang around for a while and not get all of your teeth knocked out. So just calm down.
Could you imagine if he hip checked Charles Oakley like that?
Our cousins or anybody.
Or DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah,
Can you imagine if he
Zach Randolph.
Right.
Come on, man.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's just a bad life decision.
It's a bad life decision.
Yeah, that's right. You got a good life insurance.
No problem.
Yeah.
Let's go up to the East and look at the first round there, and I think that's got two of the most intriguing first round games in one upset. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you my upset special in that first round. And it's a 14 over a 3. And I think for the past 3 or 4 years, a 14 has beat a 3 in the tournament, okay? And that upset is Stephen F. Austin over Texas Tech. Here's why I think Stephen F. Austin win it. I was looking at some stats before the show. Stephen F. Austin, 21% of the time, they run a full court press. Think about these numbers, Coach. They run a full court press. 21% of the time, they're stealing the ball off an inbound. Now, let's face it. That's not against major Division I talent. That's against mid-major and lower. But a lot of times when you're a Texas Tech, you haven't saw pressure like that. And again, it goes to the small college, bigger state thing. Stephen F. Austin, a small college in the state of Texas. Texas Tech, an institution that should win. They should win. Stephen F. Austin, nothing to lose. It's a bunch of senior guys, 22 years old, 23, 24 years old, playing the last game of their career potentially in NCAA. The last game that a lot of them will ever play organized basketball. Remember this, folks. There's a lot of seniors out there that this is the last game. They don't go to the NBA. They don't go to Europe. This is the last game. So when it's your last game, there's a lot built up wanting you to play. So I like Stephen F. Austin upsetting there. A couple of other great games in the East in the first round. Virginia Tech and Alabama. I'm taking Alabama. And Arkansas at Butler. I don't think I've picked too many SEC teams already, and I do not think Arkansas can beat Butler. I think Butler got a bad shot, and I think had Butler been playing in the Big Ten, they would have been a 3 or 4 seed. What's your thoughts, Coach?
Well, I'm looking back up here at Virginia Tech and Alabama.
Yeah.
That's going to be a battle. That's just all out.
Virginia Tech beat Duke.
Exactly.
But they didn't do well in the ACC tournament.
Yes. So,
Nick, who you like? I mean, I know you're an Alabama homer because you went to Alabama, but what's your first round upsets?
I got Butler over Arkansas.
That's what you went with me. Good job, Nick.
I also have Alabama winning, but that's not an upset. That's an 8 or 9.
It's an 8 or 9.
right.
Here's why. This is why I think Arkansas loses. Okay, it's just a law of numbers and attrition. Number one, all three of us are picking Alabama to beat Virginia Tech. You picking Alabama, Coach?
Yes.
Nick's picking Alabama. I'm picking Alabama. Okay. If we look over to the earlier brackets, we all picked Kentucky. We all picked Tennessee. Okay. You picked Missouri, didn't you, over Florida State? Or
no.
We had Missouri losing. Did you have Missouri winning or losing?
I'm losing.
You had them losing. We all had Missouri losing. I don't think every team from the SEC makes it out of the first round.
Well, a couple of y'all didn't think that Texas A&M was going to beat Providence now.
That's right.
Okay, so.
But I still don't think Arkansas is going to beat Butler for whatever reason. It's just a law of numbers. It's data versus culture. Data tells me Arkansas won't win. Culture tells me Butler's a better basketball school than Arkansas. Nolan Richardson dead and gone. You don't think Butler's a better basketball program right now?
Well, you could say that the coach that they had is gone.
What's that?
The coach that Butler used to have is gone.
Yeah, Mark Stevens. But the problem is Butler is now the official basketball school in the state of Indiana. I know Purdue's heavy, but look, year after year over the past 6 years, who's always been there? Butler.
All right, listen to this right here.
Okay.
You and I are going to come back to this game right here. I'm going with Arkansas. You got Butler.
Yeah.
Okay, and don't get me wrong, but I think that Arkansas better show up, and I'm going with Arkansas.
And here's another reason I think Butler's going to win. Look what the tournament people did, the money people did in the second round. Who they got playing in the second round?
I know.
Two Indiana schools. Purdue. Butler against Purdue. Why do you take the two biggest basketball schools in America and put the biggest basketball state for amateur athletics basketball? And you can say what you want, Indiana's amateur basketball on the level which they play. And let's face it, folks, their high school recruits aren't as big as some other states, but their high school attendance blows other states away.
North Carolina's up there too now.
Yeah.
So you look at them too.
But you put them up there. Yeah. But you've got Butler against Purdue. Nick, who you taking in that game?
I got Purdue moving on.
You got Purdue. What you got, Coach?
Well, I'm going with Arkansas and then Purdue.
Who you got, Purdue and Arkansas then?
Purdue.
I got Purdue coming out too.
The bigs at Purdue, I mean, they're going to handle their business in the paint.
I got Florida. I got Purdue. I got Wichita State beating West Virginia. And I got an upset in the second round up there. You know what I got?
West Virginia?
I got Alabama, Colin Sexton, beating Villanova.
Now who's the homer?
No. A number one always gets beat. A number one always gets beat somewhere.
Yeah, of course. At some point in time.
So that's where my number one gets beat.
Villanova.
I got Villanova losing in the second round to Alabama.
Okay. Now, remember this.
Yeah, I got it right here. It's right on paper. Look,
Rewind.
Facebook Live. Right there it is. Right there it is. And remember, you want to win a shirt, we're going to give one away in just a second. Keep listening to Real Life Basketball on Facebook Live and on podcasts nationwide, worldwide. And thank you to all those fine folks in Sweden listening. Nick, got them folks in Sweden listening. That's a beautiful thing, is it not?
Beautiful thing.
Beautiful thing. Coach, let's go down to who you got coming out of the West, Coach? The East. Who's your Final Four guy there?
I'm going with Villanova.
You going with Villanova. Nick, who you got?
I got Villanova.
Y'all both got Villanova. I got Purdue.
Okay.
I got Purdue.
I like Purdue till they meet Villanova.
Till they beat Villanova. I like Purdue. I've liked Purdue for a long time. Now let's go to where Coach says, and we got to side with Coach because he had 4 out of the 5 tournament winners, saying this is the toughest bracket all the way around. And first off, I'm going to tell you my 2 upsets and tell me what you think of them, Coach. You ready? In the first round. The first one you ain't going to like, but I saw you pick them in the SEC championship. I think Charleston's going to upset Auburn because a 13 always beats a 4 somewhere along the way. And I picked 2 13s out of a 4 just for data. But a 13 always beats a 4 somewhere along the way. So I think this is the most legitimate shot because here's why. If you look at the tournament and you look at the way the brackets are made, Auburn's hurt, okay? If Auburn had all their players, including Mr. Austin Wiley, they'd have been a number 1 seed coming in this tournament, without a doubt. They'd have beat the slop out of an Alabama team if it had Austin Wiley.
But look at what they've done without him.
Yeah. They still SEC Team of the Year and were number 1 seed in the tournament. But still, Auburn's on the downslope. Charleston's done well. I like Charleston upsetting them. And here's who else I like. I like ASU beating Syracuse. I like ASU beating TCU. And ASU coming out against Michigan State.
That's big.
Bobby Hurley. There was a time when ASU was top 5 team in America. Remember that before Christmas?
Right.
Their non-conference schedule, they killed it.
Romello White. Let's go.
Hey, ASU had a great year until the conference season come, and they lost. So that's where I like a borderline, and we talked about this earlier, is that 7-10 matchup, Rhode Island, Oklahoma.
Rhode Island.
Oklahoma can't defend their grandmama. But I think they can shoot with anybody. And I think the tournament pickers want Trae Young to play Duke. I really do. So, anyway, by upsets in the West, and you said it was the hardest, folks, is I got ASU coming out and Charleston coming out. You got any upsets in the first round, Coach?
No, I think everything should pretty much go as planned. It's always upset, like say, somewhere. But if anything, I would think that Texas could give Nevada all they can handle up there.
Up there on top. But in the Midwest, we're talking about the Midwest right now.
Okay.
You think anybody could come out of that first round as an upset. What about Seton Hall, NC State, Coach?
That's 8-9.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I say, I'm going with Seton Hall.
Well, if you've got Auburn, which I know you do, coming out against Clemson, which would be a heck of a football game everybody wanted to see.
Yeah. 4-5.
Nick, you got Auburn and Clemson?
I do.
Who you got Auburn and Clemson winning?
I have Auburn beating Clemson.
Where you got, Coach? You got Auburn coming out?
Yes.
I got Charleston coming out.
Okay.
I got Charleston beating Auburn and Clemson.
We're going to revisit this real soon.
We do.
Yeah.
I got ASU beat Michigan State, too.
Okay. Now, Middle Tennessee State got a hold of Michigan State, but they're not there this year.
They're not there. Neither's Baylor. And remember, I picked Baylor to win the tournament. They didn't even make the tournament. Daggum, not to win the big tournament, but win it. I tell you what, first people that respond, how many listeners we got out there, Nick, listening to us live? Nobody. Nobody's listening to us, Coach. I guess when I picked Charleston, they just cut us all off.
Yeah. No offense.
No offense. Anyway, who you got in your Final Four coming out of the Midwest?
Me?
Yeah, who you got?
I got, coming out of the Midwest, I got Kansas.
Who you got, Coach?
Kansas.
I got Kansas. We all got Kansas beating Duke. So my Final Four, real simply, this week's Virginia, Xavier, Purdue, and Kansas. I got Kansas and Virginia in the finals. Kansas winning it all, Coach. What you got? Nick, what you got first, and we'll let Coach go later.
I got Virginia, UNC, Nova, Kansas. Then I got Virginia playing Nova, and I got Virginia winning by a point.
Ooh.
Coach, what you got?
Okay, I got Virginia, Xavier, Villanova, Kansas. And I'm going to have to say right now, I'm leaning toward Kansas.
Kansas over who?
Virginia.
Kansas over Virginia. Well, I mean, we both picked Kansas, Virginia in the finals.
Yeah, I like Virginia solid.
I like
scoring,
Virginia.
defense, everything.
They are, you know what? Here's why I like Virginia. If the NCAA wanted a poster team, based on what the NCAA thinks a college athletic program should be, they would pick Virginia. Because, A, they don't have a lot of top-flight draft picks on the team. They got some kids that are going to get drafted. But if you think about it, there's nobody that just stands out like Arizona with the big kid, Kentucky with the big kid, Texas with the big kid, Oklahoma with Trey Young, Alabama with Colin Sexton. You follow me, guys?
Yeah.
Virginia doesn't have it. But Virginia has solid team defense. They are solid shooters. Against North Carolina, I watched them pick and roll, grab the ball, and the guy took 10 foot. I mean, their mid-range jumpers had more form in them than most NBA players I see. Straight up, toes toward the basket, wrist floating exactly right. It was a lesson. And guess what? That's what the NCAA wants. That's what they want. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree.
So I think they're gonna get calls from time to time that other people's not gonna get. So anyway, if you're listening to our podcast, enter our contest. I tell you what, if you want one of these real life basketball T-shirts, shoot me a message on Twitter. Shoot us a message on Real Life Basketball. The first response I get that says you heard the coach and Darien pick Kansas to win the national championship. Nick, who'd you have winning the national championship?
Villanova. Or Virginia.
Virginia. Nick has Virginia. Coach and I have Kansas. Coach, want to close and congratulate some of the Georgia State champions that won this week, and want to talk to folks about our future shows coming up.
Yes. First of all, congratulations to the Westlake girls for winning it all. They were really impressive. They had played against a good Newton team. Another shout out towards Meadow Creek. They don't get enough notoriety for what they have accomplished. I think they need to be recognized as well. Upson Lee, 63 games in a row.
That's amazing, ain't it?
Yes, should be
at any level.
Any level.
63 games in a row.
Yes.
How many state championships in that a row? 2 or 3?
2.
Two in
Definitely 2. Yeah.
Right. Nice. And I look forward to getting some of these other coaches in here once the season's over, and talking to them.
Yes.
Maybe we'll even get somebody in here live. What do you think?
Hey, got a spot for them right here.
Or right here on the end, or right there, wherever.
Yeah.
We can put them in here and put them on the Facebook Live, throw some cameras up in here. Hey, the show's growing. Thank you guys for that. And in order to get the show growing more, and I want to mention that, go on iTunes and rate us and check in and give us some comments. The first 4 that does that over the next few weeks, the first 4, we're going to send you the official Real Life Basketball T-shirt. And, So we want you to rate us. We want you to give us 5 stars if you would, if you enjoy our show. And thank you for listening to us. Coach, good week of basketball coming up. Starting, is it tonight or tomorrow night? Starting tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, let's get it. Oh, make sure you also understand, we have smalls as well as XXX, so we didn't leave out anybody.
That's right. You petite ladies, we got some for you and for you. Was it chunky or big bone?
Chunky.
Chunky.
Let's get correct, grammatically correct. Yes,
That's right. Coach, thank you for another great show. Real Life Basketball is a production of BG Podcast Network and the BG Ad Group. Thank you to our sponsors once again, Carriage Automotive Group, Carriage Kia, Carriage Nissan, and Carriage Mitsubishi, along with Julio Jones Kia and Mazda in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Thank you for that. You're listening to us every Tuesday, every Friday. We got the Coach's Corner coming around this Friday. Got some fun stuff coming out. Appreciate you listening. And, Coach, it's a wrap once again.
Yeah, and let me go ahead and add, we will have other people's insight on their brackets as well, since, we're not going to be biased, but we'd like to have some other opinions as well.
Right. Once again, Nick, before we close out, tell everybody how they can enter the contest to win their own real-life basketball T-shirt.
Go to ESPN.com, go to Fantasy Sports, and go look up Real Life Basketball. You'll be taken right to our bracket. You get 4 entries per person. The winner gets a free T-shirt.
Free T-shirt. There we go. Coach, stand up and model yours.
Hey, I'll be out of the picture.
There you go.
And we do have long sleeve as well.
We have long sleeve. And if you want to buy these, they're $10 a piece. But anyway, we'll talk to you soon on Real Life Basketball. That's a wrap.